Avengers Doomsday has a complicated reputation, to put it kindly.
This is the saddest start to a marketing campaign I've ever seen.
Avengers Doomsday is shaping up to potentially be the biggest disaster in movie history. Avengers Doomsday is gonna suck.
I don't see the vision.
No.
But this past week, at least for me, the temperature has shifted. Doomsday might be Marvel cashing in, but it's also Marvel growing up. By design, Doomsday is a film unlike any other in Hollywood history, where most films, even huge franchise blockbusters, aim to tell a streamlined, satisfying story full of action, adventure, and emotional payoffs. Doomsday has a much more complicated job. Not only does it have to do all of that, but at the same time, it has to connect every iteration of Marvel's adaptational history in a coherent multiversal narrative, effectively utilize a cast of 40 to 50 A and B list actors, follow up one of the most financially successful films of all time in Endgame, and serve as a capstone to the first quarter century of Marvel filmmaking while simultaneously ushering in the next. By any conceivable metric, it's kind of a lot. And with all of that on Doomsday's laundry list, many fans and critics have assumed the only sensible forecast to make for this film's future is incoherent messiness and shameless nostalgia baiting of unprecedented proportions. And while I won't deny that we're almost certain to see a bit of both of those things in Doomsday, the film's first real week of marketing and leaks forced me to change my tune. First, there was the Steve Rogers trailer. Let's just get this out of the way now. Would Marvel have felt the need to make Steve Rogers the ostensible protagonist of Avengers 5 if the past 6 years of MCU projects had been as well received as the Infinity Saga? Probably not. Does this movie signal a certain kind of desperation? Sure. But does that mean bringing back Steve is inherently cynical and narratively worthless? I honestly don't think so. And the teaser trailer proves it. Consider everything we thought we knew about Doomsday so far. It's the most expensive film ever made. It's a cowardly course correction to reinvigorate public trust after 6 years of mediocrity. It's a transparent attempt to eke out another decade of profitable Marvel filmmaking by repurposing the best bits of the previous decade for one last CGI-ridden multiversal hurrah. But if that's what Doomsday actually is, then why is its first trailer so mature, restrained, generally un-MCU-like? Instead of showing Steve Rogers sprinting across a cosmic battlefield screaming commands or fighting an army of kooky Steve Rogers variants from different corners of the multiverse, it depicts him literally stuffing that identity in a box and instead silently smiling while adopting a new, decidedly human one: fatherhood. This is not the first teaser trailer you attach to a film that has nothing to offer but cross-franchise tie-ins and explosions. It's a solemn, unspeaking vignette about moving forward, growing up, and putting the past behind you. Stylistically, it shares much more in common with Clint Eastwood's late-era filmmaking than it does the Russo brothers' MCU tentpoles. Then we have the leaked Thor trailer. This one hasn't been released publicly yet, and so far I've only been able to find audio of its contents, but even without seeing a single frame, this trailer blew me away even more than the first one did. Real quick, skip ahead to here if you want to wait for the official release to hear what Thor is saying in the trailer. Allegedly, the trailer contains images of Thor alone in a forest. He's praying, almost pleading, to his dead father. He says, "Of all the crowns, of all the kingdoms, the pride, I ask for none. Father, hear your son. I am not worthy of life, but still, I beg you to let the thread lengthen. Not for thunder, not for war. Let me remain long enough to see my love once more." Damn. Again, this trailer reveals a much more somber, stark, and quietly majestic tone for Doomsday than any of us would have expected. He's reaching out to his father beyond the grave to ask for strength and vitality. And not so he can win a battle or a crown, but so he can see his daughter one more time. It's a genuinely beautiful and completely unexpected piece of marketing for a movie many have decided to brand as slop before they've even seen it. And in some ways, it's even more shocking and reassuring than the Steve Rogers one. Thor is a character that the MCU has never really been able to pin down tonally. In his first two films, he was introduced atop an unflattering blend of pseudo-Shakespeare loftiness and He-Man-coded machismo. Then Marvel hung a wide left into slapstick territory with Taika Waititi's Ragnarok. The Russo brothers veered even further into Quipsville with Endgame's Fat Thor, and finally, Taika parried by running the joke 6 feet underground with Love and Thunder. Thor's fourth film in the MCU was unsuccessful in many ways, but at the very least, it was educational in one pivotal aspect. It showed us exactly where the line is and demonstrated the disaster that follows if it's ever crossed. Ironically, the only time Marvel found a happy medium between sincerity and sarcasm with Thor was Infinity War. The Russo brothers treated the loss of Thor's father, brother, home, and best friend with the gravitas and pathos it deserved. It was serious without being Snyderish, funny without being farcical, sincere without being saccharine. It was Thor in the tonal Goldilocks zone. And in retrospect, given the resurgence of the Russo/McFeely creative team, it should come as a shock to no one that the Thor Doomsday trailer is living in that same world. It features some of the most genuinely poetic and regal Thor dialogue the MCU has ever had, and once again, it's signaling maturity over marketability. But beyond the tonal similarities between the two trailers we know about so far, there's one even more important thematic thread connecting Cap, Thor, and possibly even Doom: fatherhood. Despite the fact that almost all of the core Marvel heroes are over 40, with many pushing 50, very few of them have children. Historically, in the MCU, parenthood and the superhero gig don't really mix. There are exceptions, of course, Scott Lang being the prime example. The Ant-Man films were initially about a father seeking redemption through heroism, and eventually, a father achieving redemption through passing heroism down to his child. Clint Barton has children, but he hid that fact from his team and the rest of the world for years. And perhaps most importantly, there's Tony. But we only got a handful of scenes with Tony Stark the father before he snapped himself out of existence to save the universe from Thanos. The importance of found family was integral, but the nuclear family was an afterthought at best throughout the vast majority of the franchise. That is, until quite recently. Starting with WandaVision, the MCU clearly began showing an interest in the domestic side of heroism. Then we had the Fantastic Four introduce Reed and Sue's super baby Franklin Richards, who, coincidentally, RDJ's Doom seems to be very interested in collaborating with. And finally, we have these teasers that seem to put parenthood front and center above flashy acts of heroism entirely. It's a cumulative thematic shift that Marvel has been covertly threading under the surface for years, and evidently culminating with a fateful fatherly showdown in Avengers Doomsday. What will it mean for Cap, Thor, and Doom to balance their responsibilities as parental guardians against their multiversal missions?
The one thing that matters more than a mission.
And how does emphasizing the importance of fatherhood impact the tonal backdrop of the MCU more broadly? It's a genuinely interesting set of questions, and full disclosure, wildly different than the questions I assumed this batch of teaser trailers would actually pose. And yes, at this point you might be thinking this is a whole lot of premature optimism based on teasers and leaks that offer little more than stoic vibes. That's fair, and I'll take that on the chin. So let's clearly name the elephant in the room. But first...
So I just want to let everyone know that I just created a Discord server for my Patreon. If you're one of the first 5 people to join, you'll be a founding member, and I'll give you a shout out and a sign off in every video forever. Thank you, and back to the video.
Yes, this holistic insistence on retreating back to retired fan favorites is a calculated nostalgia play rooted in desperation. There's no denying that. In terms of cultural capital, Marvel is stuck in a slump and running on fumes. Between this latest string of disappointing projects, the growing relevance of an upstart rival in the DCU, and skepticism spreading rapidly among even the hardcore MCU heads, Marvel's back is up against the wall. It's do or die time, and Doomsday is when the franchise puts up or shuts up. But the thing about desperation is sometimes it can breed greatness. It can lead you to take risks you'd never dream of taking when you were complacent at the top. It can make you overhaul your process and get experimental and bold with your storytelling. It can force you to take a hard, honest accounting of your output, kill your darlings, and most importantly, get better. Believe it or not, this is actually what growing up looks like for the most commercially successful film franchise of all time. In Doomsday, it's painting pockets of personal pathos on the most cosmically colossal canvas in cinematic history. It's mediocre art getting sucker punched by commerce until it has no choice but to evolve. It's messy, it's massive, it's expensive, it's risky, and from the outside, it can look ridiculous. And when all is said and done, maybe it will be. But all I'm saying is, don't be surprised if it's just crazy enough to genuinely blow you away. So as always, thanks so much to everyone who made it this far. Major thanks to my first Patreon subscriber, Tony. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Patreon and other links down in the description, and I'll catch y'all soon.